There are lots of weeks when we celebrate a particular aspect of national life, and there are lots of weeks when we have receptions right here in number 10 Downing Street. But it's actually hard to think of a more important issue to celebrate and discuss and recognise, or a more important group of people to have right here in number 10 Downing Street than carers and carers organisations and carers charities. Because what you do is fantastically important in so many different ways. And I just wanted to say some things about that tonight, because I know that as carers and as carers organisations, you're used to hearing, quite rightly, the appalling financial consequences for the country if you stopped caring. And that is absolutely right, and I repeat that again tonight. Every politician, every member of the public, everyone should realise that if you stop doing what you're doing, the consequences for the country would be disastrous. I know you're also used to hearing the personal praise for the quality of life that you give to those people that you're caring for. And again, that is absolutely right and something we should mention. But what I wanted to say to you tonight, and why I value what carers do so much, is this, and based a little bit on my own experience of bringing up a very, very severely disabled son. And that is that I know that when you become a carer, it's not something you volunteer for. Carers aren't angels. We didn't all sign up to this life. And I know there are times when you're caring for someone when it can be incredibly frustrating. It's the middle of the night. It's the third epileptic fit. It's the second time the bed's been wet. You're exhausted. The other children are screaming. Your work is incredibly stressful the next day. Maybe you're starting to feel stress and you're starting to feel ill. And you just wonder how you're going to go on. And at that moment, you feel all sorts of issues and worries. You feel guilt. You feel selfishness. You feel, why can't you be better at it? You feel all sorts of things. And I don't think we say enough to carers that we really understand and value what it is that you do day in, day out, sometimes year in, year out. I was just talking to a family from Birmingham who've been looking after a mum and a dad with mental health issues for over 15 years. And I think it's that understanding of the personal pressures and sacrifices that carers give up that, to me, Carers Week is all about. So from the very bottom of my heart, a huge thank you for what you do and a huge congratulations to all the organisations and carers here tonight. I just wanted to say as a second point, the things I hope the government can do to try and work really positively with carers and with carers organisations. And it seems to me there are three different things we've got to try and get right. The first thing is, obviously, there are issues of money. In order to give carers proper breaks, in order to support carers organisations, in order to support carers centres, it's very important that the government finds the resources to do that. Now, as everybody knows, we are fantastically stretched as a country. We've got a huge budget deficit. We've got huge problems we have to deal with. But this coalition government has made the decision to ring-fence the funding of the NHS and to go on putting money into the NHS and also into adult social care. And we need to make sure that money is provided for carers. And we have put £800 million into short breaks for carers. And we need to make sure that money gets through. But the other points I wanted to make is that in some ways it's not about the quantity of money that's spent. It's about the quality of the thinking that the government does. Because I think there are some other agendas that carers quite rightly want us to focus on. One is an issue that many of the organisations here tonight are rightly really focused on, and as a country we've got to do better at, and that is finding the hidden carers, finding the missing carers. I always find in my own constituency, sometimes in some far-out villages, some amazing carers who are looking after people with huge problems, who have absolutely no idea that they are a carer. And they're not accessing any of the breaks or the benefits or the help that is available. So the first thing is to work with the charities that are here tonight to really do work on identifying the missing carers. I think the next thing we've got to do is recognise that nobody knows better what a carer needs than the carer themselves. And so the more that we can personalise and individualise the money in the caring system and in the NHS, so that people with long-term conditions control their own budgets, can make their own choices, carers can choose how to take the breaks they want to take. I think personalising and making things flexible is absolutely the right agenda. And I know the health team are represented here tonight. Paul Burstow, my colleague, is here, and we're driving that agenda as hard and as fast as we can. And as someone who tried to fill in a direct payment form, and I speak as someone who got a moderately good degree from one of Britain's universities, I know just how difficult it is to get that. And so we're going to have to cut down on that bureaucracy and make it easier. But I think the next point the government's got to understand, alongside funding, alongside personalisation, alongside finding the missing carers, is we've got to recognise that when it comes to the needs of carers and those that are being cared for, government alone is never going to have all the answers. And I think there is a real role for what I call the big society, for organisations, charities, voluntary bodies, voluntary effort, individual effort, to fill in, not just to fill in some of the gaps, but actually to come up with some of the great ideas that are going to transform people's lives. When you think of, we've got Admiral nurses here tonight, we've got Macmillan nurses here tonight, we've got Parkinson's nurses here tonight. Those organisations weren't dreamt up by some genius health minister who thought, I know the state's got absolutely the answer to this problem. Those organisations came from the community. They came from need. They are part of the big society. And we've got to find a way as a government to make sure that we work with you and work in partnership with you to provide for those needs. So those are my thoughts and reflections. The government must commit its money. The government must show more understanding. It must back personalisation. It's got to work with the brilliant voluntary bodies that are there. We've got to find all the missing carers, and then we've got to make sure that when I speak to carers, one message comes over more loud and clear than anything else, which is the biggest priority is to give people a break from caring. Because this goes right to the thing I said first, which is that there are many carers who are complete angels, but many carers we're not angels, we're just doing our best. And we're struggling, and the most important thing that we can be given is a break in caring, so we can then go back to go on caring and doing our best and saving the country and saving lives and doing the wonderful things that you do. So you're hugely welcome. I, sadly, am no longer a carer, although tonight I am actually a babysitter because my wife is at the Scottish Fashion Awards and has told me if I don't put the children to bed on time, then she will stop caring for me. But you're hugely welcome. Please have plenty to eat, plenty to drink. There are lots of people like you, doing things like you, here to talk with, and some of my talented ministerial team here to listen to your needs and make sure, as a country, we get this issue right. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
I love this man.